I know it's been a whole week, but I'm definitely back on the grind. Here to talk about why I think this new 22 team plan for the NBA to finish up the season, I think it's a good idea. How you guys doing? It is Tuesday, June 9th, 2020 here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims. I really just want to get into it. So what the NBA is proposing. So first of all, yes, the NBA is coming back very soon, and everyone's gonna be really, really excited when it gets back, especially me. So what they proposed is every single team is gonna have 8 games left to play in the regular season. So all the teams that are more than 8 games behind a playoff spot, they're already eliminated from contention. And these teams include the Charlotte Hornets, Chicago Bulls, New York Knicks, Detroit Pistons, Atlanta Hawks, and the Cavs in the East. And then in the West is just the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Golden State Warriors. So that's really the situation. So now there's 9 Eastern Conference teams playing for 8 spots as the Bucks, the Raptors, Celtics, Heat, Pacers, and Sixers have already clinched, but the Brooklyn Nets, the Orlando Magic, and the Washington Wizards are all competing for the last spot, and the Wizards are about 6 games behind the Orlando Magic, so it looks as though they're not going to get that spot. It's going to be the Nets and the Magic. And in the Western Conference, the Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets, Jazz, Thunder, and Rockets have clinched, so there's 6 spots already secure. You have the Mavericks, who are a couple games behind the Rockets. It looks as though they're going to clinch their playoff spot in a couple games. You have the Grizzlies, the Trailblazers, the Pelicans, the Kings, the Spurs, and the Suns still technically competing for that last 8th spot in the West. So the way they did, so they were able to find an even number of teams to compete and play in this league to finish out the season. And then after that, they're going to continue with the playoffs following right after. And another condition of it is that they're playing it in Orlando so that there's not as much traveling, so that they can try to keep this whole situation as contained as they possibly can. So I'm a big fan of this. Of course, there's some people that disagree, of course, saying that they're already determining the fate of 8 teams, not letting them finish out their seasons, which is fair. But at the same time, if they're not going to compete for the championship, especially in a season that was cut short by quarantine, I understand. Well, you have to get it moving quickly. Like that, I get. And also, it helps solidify their spot in the draft lottery. Anyway, I think if you don't play 8 games, I don't think that's really I think it's a no harm no foul, considering most teams have already played about 60 something games anyway. So personally, I have no problem with it. I like that the NBA was able to start back up, because I'm glad that they didn't let this become a lost season, because, of course, the Bucks were doing really well. The Lakers and the Clippers, everyone kind of wants to see how that ends. And then I guess a whole other part of this is people are worried that the strength of schedule at the end of the season for teams that are trying to clinch the playoffs, they're going to knock them out of contention. And to which I say, first of all, they're playing this playoffs to get a chance at playing for the championship. So if they can handle the strength of schedule and they miss out on the playoffs because they were playing harder teams, then they probably weren't qualified to compete for a championship. Even the 5 through 8 seeds in both conferences, they're basically playing just to lose in the first round, especially because in both conferences, it's the 7 and 8 seed left. So they're basically competing to get knocked out by the Lakers, the Clippers, the Nuggets, the Bucks, or the Raptors. So that's really how I feel about this whole thing. I think it's a good idea for them to come back, just because we have been waiting just to see if any of these 4 or 5 teams would compete for the championship. Another part of this is that the KD and Kyrie aren't coming back. But I think that if they came back, the Nets would be really unstoppable, especially in the East. But that's not going to happen. But yeah, just as a basketball fan, I'm glad that it's coming back in this way, because this season was too many games in the season have been played. Too much of this regular season have been played just for them just to call it a lost season. I think it was a good heads up job by the NBA, just getting all of this together. And I don't know. I mean, this is LeBron's chance at winning his 4th championship. So I mean, I don't think the NBA wants to squander this opportunity, especially when a lot of people are gonna spend a lot of money to watch the Los Angeles Lakers in the playoffs this year because LeBron's playing. And they're going to watch the Clippers because Kawhi is making them look amazing. And Giannis is probably going to win the MVP, so you at least have that team on the East to watch. So that's really all I have to say. I appreciate you for listening to all 5 minutes of this. I know it's been a week, But now I'm definitely back on the grind, and I'll start pushing out and pumping out more content. With that, I'm going to say peace.